sorry.
You smell something.
No apology necessary. I guess that's as far as
I haven't smelled her yet.
Okay.
All right, y'all ready? I'd like to call this workshop agenda to order on Monday, May the 12th, 2025 at 2:04 p.m. Would you do the roll call, please, Ryan?
Yeah, Mayor Gray Leonard.
Here.
Vice Mayor Robert Greenland.
Here.
Councilman Jimmy Anderson.
Here.
Councilwoman Linda Richardson.
Here.
Councilwoman Brandy Peterson.
Here.
Town Attorney Scott Simpson.
Here.
Town Planner Mark Perret.
Here.
And I'm present.
Right. Lynn, would you do our implications?
Yes, sir. Let us pray. Dear Lord, I want to come to you with great thanks for this beautiful day you have granted our community, and especially this blessing of this rain. Dear Lord, as we gather today as His council, I ask that you guide and inspire us to make the best decisions for our town as a whole. And I ask these things in your great name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the purpose for the meeting today is I had some concerns about Yvonne. And it was on, I have a letter in everybody's packet. That kind of thing what happened. I think overall Yvonne's been doing a really great job. However, I had some concerns about maybe she was having some type of a issue. She seemed to just be off. And a couple of things have happened that was concerning me about her performance. The first one that concerned me was recently we had an individual that approached the town council and wanted to make a donation, a cash donation to the council in the amount of $6,000. And that donation was turned down by the town. And we actually told the guy that we didn't want it. That was my understanding. Does anybody else have any other thoughts about that donation?
Yeah, we decided we're gonna keep the airport open for another 12 months.
We did.
Well, somebody come in and say, here's so much money to help keep the airport open. I think that's a great thing.
Okay.
I don't think that
Was it cash or was it a check?
It was cash.
Was a receipt given? Or when did this happen?
It happened at our last council meeting.
Our last council meeting, which was last week.
Right.
All right.
Yvonne went and to gather the information from the pilots for their emails and such, so they could all be notified about the meeting coming up near the end of the month on the airport. And while she was doing that, the gentleman handed her the $6,000. And nobody on the council was aware of that. I became aware of it after the meeting. Scott and I were on stage, and she came and told me that she accepted $6,000 from the individual. And other than her, I was the only one that knew about it. My concern about the whole thing was nobody else on the council was aware of it. And if I remember correctly, that man was previously told that we were not going to accept that money at an earlier meeting. I think the vice mayor specifically spoke about we don't want to take that money from you, or something to that effect.
I don't know if I remember
I
that.
believe we didn't accept the money because we were still under
We
the
were
assumption.
still
We didn't know what we were gonna keep the
what we're
airport
gonna do
open or not.
Okay.
And I don't feel like she did anything wrong there. She accepted the donation. She came and let you know as soon as the meeting was over that she had received it. What if the guy would have walked in the door the next day and gave it to Marcy, there would have been no difference.
Well, my recollection of it was that he was told in the meeting prior to that we were not going to accept a donation from him. He was part of the glider club, there was a big heated discussion
We
on
did.
that. And that's the first time he attempted to give us that money.
We didn't want to, I thought that we had said we didn't want to take the donation because we weren't sure what we were gonna do about the airport staying open or closed, is the reason why we didn't want to accept the donation at that previous meeting. But in that meeting we just had, we approved to keep it open another 12 months.
12 months, we did.
So I think that $6,000 actually was a donation to keep that airport open, to help the town on their expense. I think that was a good thing.
If he did it after the last meeting, I agree.
Okay.
Because I do remember him trying to give $6,000 at a previous meeting. I do remember that.
It was cash.
And at the time, I don't think we accepted it. I just can't remember. I'd have to look at the minutes.
I stopped that at the last meeting.
That's right.
because I said I wanted to discuss that with the attorney first, because I
That's
did not
right.
know how the optics of that would look, that we're discussing the future of the airport, and then someone just wants to throw $6,000 cash at you. You know, everything moved really
That's right.
fast at the meeting before last, and I
That's right.
kind of wanted us to just wait and put it on the agenda and discuss it, but, you know, he also didn't speak at this previous meeting. He was here, obviously, but I still think he should have maybe ran it by council first. But I don't personally think that's Yvonne's fault. I mean, she brought it up as soon as the meeting was over, but it would have been nice if Mr. Shug or whatever his name is would have stood up and spoke at the meeting and said, you know, now that we've voted to keep the airport open, would you accept this donation? It kind of seemed sneaky on his part a little bit. But he said he wanted it to be anonymous. I don't necessarily know that it should be. I sort of feel like if he's going to do that, maybe he should write a letter and say, I'm donating this. I want the proceeds specifically to go to the airport. We give him a receipt for his donation. That way it's all above board. But, you know, I'll defer to Scott on that. I don't know how that normally works.
Yeah, the first time this individual spoke, a person had spoke. I don't know if that individual spoke at the first time it came up, but there's another individual spoke, and he said, you know, have somebody willing to give $6,000 and pay for half of your operating costs. And we kind of said, like, in exchange for what? I mean, why are you, we want to make sure there's no quid pro quo expected here when you give us this money, because at that time and currently we have various development, you're going to probably be presented with various development options for the airport. You kind of heard various people come up and speak about it. And we don't want any strings attached to it. And when the first time it came up, he said, you know, just give him the $6,000. This last time, he said he wants to make an anonymous donation. Cities get donations. That is not uncommon. Typically, they are earmarked for a particular purpose, whether it's park improvement or usually somebody just wants something done with that money. And what I would like, whether it's, as Ryan suggested, a letter or just a simple agreement, that, and I don't think it can be anonymous just because we're having this discussion about potential development activity at the airport, whether somebody's going to, you know, are they going to take over the airport? Are we going to keep it open? Are we going to sell for a helicopter? And I don't know who this person's affiliated with. So giving money when a decision is coming before you without making it clear that it is anonymous, not anonymous, it's a donation. I'm making a donation for you all to spend this at the airport, no strings attached other than just spend it at the airport. That would be the only corrective, not even call it corrective, just paperwork that I would like for you all to have, just because you do, this person who's making it is obviously affiliated with one of the people who spoke before about wanting to keep it open. And I don't want them to think that they're entitled to anything because they're making this $6,000 donation. And so that would be the only thing I would
I'll tell you who he is. We had a glider club or an aviation club up there for a long time called Eagle Sport Aviation Club. He was one of the original members of Eagle Sport Aviation Club. To my knowledge, he stepped down or left them, but now when he speaks, he still says he's affiliated with the Eagle Sport Aviation Club. But my big thing there is they owe us 11 months worth of tie-down fees because they left their glider up there. And if you'll remember, when Pat Anderson spoke 2 meetings ago, he said, oh, if it'll help with the goodwill of the town, I'll pay this invoice or whatever. Well, that has nothing to do with the goodwill of the town. You owe us for the storage of your plane for 11 months. So this Greg Shug, who donated this money, and Pat Anderson were both members of that club, I guess, maybe managing members of it. So my only question was, why are you donating $6,000 when you didn't even want to pay the $800 invoice for your past due storage fees?
And given the I've heard the financial discussions with the airport and everything, you don't want to turn down $6,000. That's very important. But because
specifically after we just agreed to keep it going I wouldn't turn down nothing. I don't care who wants to come down.
But I just want to make sure that they understand that it's a donation that the city has discretion to use at its discretion for the airport and no other conditions. And so it's above board and there's no other strings attached. Because people sometimes put strings attached when they make donations to governmental entities. They want something named after them, whatever the case may be. But when you have this potential a decision that you're going to have to make about the future use of that airport, I just don't want someone saying, well, I paid that $6,000 to help keep you all going, so I really think that should be factored in. No, it's not going to be factored in at all.
I don't agree with that, Scott. I don't agree with that. If $6,000 is going to buy my vote, that ain't here.
I understand.
Just like if an anonymous donor walks into that town hall and says, I know that the town of Pierson just got a new water plant online. I don't care who it is. I'd like to make a $100,000 donation just to the town for whatever they need it for. You gonna say we shouldn't take it?
Just have a document saying
that's what I
donation.
thought. That's what I think.
But I get, it's a specific interest, right? The airport. Where it could be misconstrued.
One of the issues that I don't know if any of y'all are aware of or not, but after that first meeting, Councilwoman Richardson and myself were standing right at the table speaking to the 2 clerks. And that gentleman walked up to both of us with an envelope full of cash money and shoved it in my face and in Lenny's face, wanting us to take it. After the meeting was completely over with. That's what made me have a real bad feeling about that individual and that $6,000. It almost, to me, it felt like a bribe. That's the way it felt like to me. And I don't have any trouble taking the man's donation if he wants to donate it to us. But I do feel like that if that's money's been taken at a public meeting, that the council should have been made aware of that whenever the gentleman handed the money to the clerk. That's just my personal feeling.
Well, didn't Yvonne come to you when she got the money?
She came to me after the meeting had been adjourned, and most of the council had already left. The only people that were standing there at that moment was myself and the attorney.
Actually, I didn't walk up.
And I think I called you to come back.
Yeah, I was out there always.
Well, it wasn't like she was trying to hide it. She more or less.
Yeah, that's where I thought this was going. I thought maybe she
No, absolutely not.
See, I had no idea that it was just in regards of accepting the cash donation. I didn't know. I was thinking maybe that may be insinuated that she was taking money.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, but that's fine.
No,
I'm glad.
not.
I'm glad. I mean, I wouldn't think she'd do
No,
that.
heck, listen, Yvonne has been doing a great job as our clerk. I think
I'm
she's
aware
been
of
doing
that.
a good job.
I think so
And the
too.
day that I talked to Yvonne about this, I told her that. And I simply asked her, is there something going on maybe that you want to talk about? Because it just seems like you weren't thinking clearly when you did this. And she gave me no answer whatsoever.
Regarding this $6,000
Yeah.
donation.
Yes. And, you know, no, I don't want anybody to think that I'm insinuating that she was going to do anything with that money.
I don't think, this
No.
is what I think. I don't think the fact that immediately after that meeting was over with and she came to you and informed you of what had happened, and you informed the attorney, I mean, I don't know. Does that warrant what's happened?
That's why we're here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it does.
Me neither.
I mean, that's the way I feel.
So,
But I'm only one person.
Well, you can go ahead first.
no, go ahead.
My thing is, why are we in a workshop? This should have been an emergency meeting as soon as it happened. I mean, I know I ripped about emergency meeting before, but really today, we can't really do nothing but just talk about this, right?
Well, you really,
Because it's a workshop.
even if it was a meeting, the mayor called me Wednesday. And so I read in the charter, I said, these are your choices. And what the charter says is that the mayor does have the authority, if he feels like someone's doing improper, you have the authority to suspend somebody. And then that issue will be addressed by the commission at their next regular meeting. Can't call a special meeting to address the issue. Next regularly scheduled meeting, the issue will come before the commission, and the commission can either reinstate or terminate the employee. That's what the charter says. And I said, there's also a provision that you have it's your responsibility to keep the commission adequately informed of issues that you see coming with the operations of the city. I said, another option, if you wanted to have a special meeting or a workshop, is to you have the authority to call a special meeting or workshop, but you can't do anything at either one of these, because the only way the charter provides for that decision on employment status is you got to suspend. Then the charter says it comes to the next regularly scheduled meeting. So that was the only conversation the mayor and I had, and then I was contacted Friday about attending today. So I don't know. I have no idea what the discussion was between the mayor and Ron, what happened there. No clue. But I don't know if he suspended it. I have no clue. If he did, then y'all can't address it until next Tuesday when you have your next regularly scheduled meeting. I don't know if that's what happened. It may just be he wanted to inform you all about his concerns about what happened, and that's why it was called the way it was.
So yes, we have our charter, and it does grant the mayor these powers. Okay. We have another bylaw, in my opinion, and it is our personnel rules and regulations. Under disciplinary actions, section 2, procedures. The following procedure is intended to assist the committee chairman, which we used to have the chairman, now I guess it becomes the mayor, in determining a proper course of action when discipline is needed. An employee who violates any of the established personnel policies, administrative directives, or operational safety or departmental rules is disciplined on the severity and/or frequency of the violation. The committee chairman, subject to the right of appeals of permanent employees, has the following alternatives for disciplinary action. A, oral reprimand. An employee may be called in for private counseling by any council member regarding unacceptable behavior patterns or work performance standards. A written copy of the oral reprimand is to be placed in the permanent personnel file. B, written reprimand. A written reprimand may be given to an employee by any council member when, 1, an oral warning has not resulted in the desired improvement, or 2, when the initial action requires greater discipline than an oral warning. The employee must, by signature, acknowledge receipt of all written disciplinary actions. Signing of the written reprimand does not indicate agreement when the action is taken. The notice of written reprimand is to be filed in the employee's permanent personnel file. C, suspension. A committee chairman may temporarily suspend an employee without pay for up to 5 workdays, but must immediately call a special meeting of the town council to address the issue. A written notice of an employee's suspension is prepared and specifically set forth the reasons for the suspension. The notice is furnished to the employee and receipt must be signed by the employee. The notice of suspension is filed in the employee's permanent personnel file. So it looks to me like in this document, an oral reprimand is the first.
Mode of action.
Yes. Then the written. And to suspend, is by up to 5 days without pay, but an emergency meeting, a special meeting of the town has to be called immediately. So I think we need to go by this document. I damn sure don't think 5 days off without pay is warranted.
Well, we gave her all 3 in one go around. We gave her the oral written reprimand, and suspension.
She's not suspended without pay.
No, it's with pay.
She's suspended with full pay and
Committee
benefits.
chairman may temporarily suspend an employee without pay for up to 5 days, but must immediately call a special meeting of the town council to address the issue. I think we need to follow this handbook.
Yeah, I was not provided with that, but I would say the provision about the suspension is inconsistent with the charter.
Is what?
Is inconsistent with the charter, because the charter says it has to be at the next regularly scheduled meeting, not special call. That would be the only thing I would say would be inconsistent, but it could be the difference between with pay and without pay. But just the way, and that may be something that the charter review committee needs to look at. To say it's the next regularly scheduled meeting,
I don't think it should be handled at a regular scheduled meeting.
Yeah.
Because I think it should be done at a special
Isn't
meeting.
Right,
But
an
it
emergency.
Immediately.
Yes.
Like you say.
Like it says.
Yeah, and that ought to be in the charter, because the charter governs everything. So if you were to call a special meeting and say you terminated somebody at a special meeting, then some attorney could come back and say, well, wait a minute, your charter says you have to do it at a regular meeting, not a special call meeting, therefore you invalidly terminated. We want all the pay up until you had regular meetings to terminate. And so I think that provision in your charter needs to be reworded. And we're going through the charter review, now's a good time to do it. So,
I want to get back to this.
This whole thing to me, Ray, is you should have given her a little bit of talking to and let that be it.
Maybe I should have.
This whole deal, to me, is a mess that you more or less took too far ahead. I don't know if it's because you talked with the attorney and he told you what you should do, but you should have give her a little talking to and see if there's a problem she's got.
I did ask her about that. I did
Well-
talk to her about that.
The way you went about this ain't right. As good as she has been to the town since she's been here, I think she's done a wonderful job. Before I even come council, I know what she was doing for the town the whole time. And this just didn't hit me right.
I think that she has been doing a great job for the town, and the reason I asked her to take this time off or suspend it or any way you want to do it, I wanted her to give an opportunity, if she had some stress, to take a few days off with pay, get de-stressed, think about what was happening, come back a little bit refreshed. That was the whole purpose of my intent of this. My intent is not to terminate her or fire her or do anything along them lines. I want her to come back to work with her mind refreshed and be able to focus back on her work. And the reason I know she's not focused on her work is because I got an agenda for a meeting that's supposed to be a special agenda for the airport. And it's a long way off from that. And this agenda was sent out to a lot of people. It's more than just that, the money. It's got to do with that and then this following document that she prepared for the town and sent out. And I don't know if y'all have read that workshop agenda or not,
Yeah, I've seen it.
but it's
Just cause it had Mayor Samuel Bennett.
that don't have anything to do with it. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
That gives you the idea that she wasn't focused on her job. Well, a lot of people makes mistakes.
They do. And obviously, maybe I made a mistake. But that's not my intent. I don't care whose name is on this agenda. It's not the agenda for the airport. This is an agenda for a special budget workshop. That's the title of that agenda. And if that agenda had been proofread and looked at, that would not have happened. If that mistake would have been caught by myself or by you or by Ryan before it was all mailed out, that would have not happened.
Well,
Ray, I'm gonna say this, and I hope it wasn't your intent, and I don't think it
Oh,
was.
it absolutely was not.
Well, I mean, I believe you, but it looks like it may have been. When Mayor Samuel Bennett's name was on that email address, I mean, it looks like that it was that.
That absolutely is not
Well,
true.
I believe that. I hope I can believe that.
Well, I hope you do.
I do
But that
believe
ain't
it.
true.
Well, okay then, but can you get out of this round though that we're in and look at it in a different way?
What do you mean?
Just look at it without you being the mayor, without us being on the town council, whoever got the agenda.
I agree.
You know, listen, I would not have your job. I don't have time for it. So I applaud you for doing this. I just think you didn't handle this situation correctly.
Okay, I can accept that
Yeah,
criticism.
that's all.
I can accept that
so
criticism.
shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do here is have Yvonne come back to work. And per
Oh,
our
she will.
our
She
handbook,
will come back.
our
Exactly.
employee handbook.
Well, that's like.
This
our
is
attorney
their
said.
Bible, this is our employee's Bible. Does it probably need to be updated? Absolutely. But as of today, May 12th, 2025, this is our employee's Bible. So that's what I think.
Another
And I
thing,
think the charter has to be changed to go
Like you said,
by.
it needs to be updated.
Updated to go by the.
Right. We just need to be consistent with
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And so,
It has to be changed to
um,
go by.
To protect
Because,
everybody.
yeah, because it's, the way the charter's worded, and because this is a workshop, obviously there's really no official action that can be taken here. I just learned that Yvonne was suspended, I didn't know that until I was just told. So what that triggers in the charter is it goes on the agenda for the next regular meeting. Unless, this would be your call, you withdraw the suspension. And then it doesn't have to go on the commission's agenda. So I would throw that out there as an option, that if the mayor wants to withdraw, because if you follow the charter, the next step is for this commission to vote whether to reinstate or to terminate at the next regularly scheduled meeting, which would be next Tuesday.
I don't want that to come to a vote to do that.
So I think the only option, well, I won't say the only, because maybe there's another, but the main option I see right now is it's within your court to say, I'm withdrawing the suspension.
Well, I withdraw it. That go that on the record. But my main intent on this, I talked to her pretty in depth for quite a while and asked her, is there something going on? Is there anything I can do? I'm an open book. Talk to me. And I received no feedback. And that's why I made the decision I made. I absolutely did not receive any feedback. I offered to hear out anything she wanted to say. I said, I'm an open book. If you want to talk to me, let's talk. This is where it will stay. And no, I received no response. And the reason I gave her this is because I felt like she might have been stressed and was having some difficulty. And that's what I said. Take some time off with pay. Whatever benefits you're getting now, you'll keep getting. Take a few days off. Get your head clear. If you're stressed out about something, take a few days off and relax, and don't worry about being terminated. Because that's one thing she brought up. So you're setting me up to terminate me at the next council meeting. And I said, no, I'm not. That's not my intent at all. I have no intention of asking anybody to terminate you. And maybe I created her more stress by doing that. Obviously, I probably did. But I wanted her to take some time off with pay to, get her head cleared out if she was having an issue.
I'm not defending any worker or anything, but I mean, we've come at them lately. I mean, we've come at them in the past year, we've come at them with every angle we could. Clocking in if they're doing what they're supposed to. I mean, we have 5 or 6 employees, they can't make all of it happen overnight.
I think we have 6 employees and they do a great job.
I agree. And another factor is they all get along, which is a huge plus in the same situation, because I've worked in some place where people don't get along and it ain't fun and it's not a good environment. So I just think, let's try to nitpick some of the other stuff and take care of our employees. I mean, they're very few and far between to pick and choose from. I have a business and it ain't easy to find good employees, and we have good employees. So, and I hate this for Yvonne because I just don't know as a person if this happened to me and then you're expected to come back and just be like, I'm sorry. And I don't know. I don't know how to handle it. I was going to reach out to her, but I didn't know if I was allowed, and that's a question I have for you, Scott, in case something like this happens before or again. Where do I stand here?
Well, all of you have the ability to talk.
Because I didn't want her to think I was because in ethics we're not going to talk to them for coercing them. And
I think all of you have the right to talk to individual employees, obviously not as a group of 2 or more, but individually you can talk to the employees. And I guess what I would just say is try to make sure when you talk to the employees, you don't step into the role of the mayor and the charter. That would be the only thing I would, to talk to them, say everything okay, you want to talk about anything, but I wouldn't go as far to say, well, don't worry about what the mayor says, we'll never let that happen. And then all of a sudden, you're kind of getting into an issue where the mayor's supposed to oversee the operations. But absent something along those lines, sure, you have the right to talk to the individual employees and just don't get to the point of saying, don't worry about what the mayor says.
Well, I looked at my phone to see if I had her number, and I was gonna call her, and I thought about it. I said, I don't wanna make her mad, and I want her to know that all of us employees care about her. You know, that was the only thing I was gonna do. But then I got thinking about it, I said, I'll wait and see what happens at our workshop. Then I was gonna call her and tell her.
Well, I don't want anybody in the audience, I don't want anybody on this council to think that I do not care about Yvonne, because I do. And I felt like Yvonne was stressed out. I felt like she was burdened with some stress, and that's the reason I had to talk with her to begin with, and that's the reason I gave her some time off to get a chance to clear her head out. And I may have contributed to it instead of helping, but that wasn't what I wanted to do. That's why I told her you're going to be with full pay. I mean, I don't want her to lose any
But her
pay.
husband's out there, why don't you ask him what's going on with Yvonne, if there's a problem? He knows.
Because I need to talk to her about that, not her husband. Do you know?
At least
well,
he'll know what's going on.
Do you know if there's anything going on, Mike? I mean, I didn't.
I know if you were trying to help her in stress, you sure as hell didn't help.
Well, I probably didn't, but that wasn't my
Somebody
intent.
that's been laying in bed since Wednesday crying does not come out of the room, is not distressing.
No, Sean, and I wasn't my
And the way that
intent.
it went down is not exactly the way that you're describing it, and I'll leave it at that because I wasn't there.
Okay.
But one thing I do want to clarify is on the $6,000 thing, as soon as that meeting was over, she notified them, and she went with the deputy to her office to verify and count the money and secure it. There's nothing else she was supposed to have done on that. Now, there's a lot of,
I didn't know she went there with a deputy.
because she's honest, and she didn't deserve this.
Well, I'm not-
damn lucky if she even thinks about coming and cleaning her desk.
I'm not saying that she's dishonest, Michael. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Anybody can make a mistake on a heading of an email. I do it all the time. And that's nothing to get in an uproar about. That's childish. Now, y'all got a lot of stuff to think about. And there's a lot of stuff that is, you know, my attorney has asked me not to speak right now, but I'm going to. There's a lot of stuff y'all need to think about. She's been here 3 years. The clerk you had before was a mess. Never came to work, paid herself overtime. The clerk you had before that stole $75,000 from this town. What has she done? Clean all this up, got it all computerized, all working, got the permit system going, working on the grants that y'all had messed up, Sandy had messed up. Everything she's done has been for the benefit of this town. And this is petty bullshit.
I hope she comes back and not take it.
Lucky if she does. There's a lot of people that love to have her.
We'll tell her that the town people,
I'm not apologizing. I'm just trying to keep her sane at this point. Because the amount of work that gets put on her on a daily basis, and especially, I guess, it was really heavy the day after the town meeting. I think on that Wednesday, it was an overload situation. And then, of course, she's trying to figure out what's going on, and you got Ray and Laney taking Ryan in the office without her, and she's just thinking, what are they doing? What's going on? I'm not even sure that's allowed under the sunshine.
Lenny was not here. No,
I'm just,
Gray was here and he asked me to come to his office.
I'm not.
Well, I'm gonna set the record straight because that's not how that went down. Gray asked me to come to his office to speak to him, and he made the comment about the $6,000, and I basically told Gray what the council said here, which was at the previous meeting, I had stopped everything before the $6,000 got accepted because we had not made a decision about the airport. At that point, it could have looked a little bit like a bribe. And that's when I wanted to put it on the next agenda, talk to Scott. So we put it on the next agenda, but I told Gray, I said, we made the motion in the meeting to keep the airport open. At that point, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to keep the $6,000. And, you know, my understanding was that she came to Gray and to Scott directly after the meeting. So I personally did not feel, and Gray can reiterate that, but that's what I told Gray. He asked for my opinion, and I gave it, and then that was that. And I told Yvonne that before she left on Wednesday.
All of whether it's this, that, or the other, just her handling of the money. There's nothing she could have done more correctly. I mean, legally, we knew that she wanted me out in the open, and here it is. Have a deputy witness, and be able to put it up.
And I'd have had a deputy escort me to my office with $6,000 cash, 100%.
You had a hard time taking it. It's not my place to go fix this. I didn't call for
You're a support, buddy. You ain't gotta. You don't have to.
it. I come home and see my wife all up, fucking cat crying. You can't get out of bed. And that's a strong woman. But to have her teeth kicked in after 3 years, she busted her ass trying to get this shit straight. And it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, from having stuff in cardboard boxes, stuff in closet. Where's the permit for this? I don't know, in a cardboard box stuck in the closet. To what it is now, and to what everything else is, and her trying everything she can to get people to come in here and rent spaces, to bring money in, to get grants, and get stuff to try to keep this stuff. Because y'all will fool around, and the county is gonna take this town over if y'all can't get a handle on this. In my job with the county, I witnessed a town that is almost a mirror to this, that is going down to, is Lake Ellen. Lake Ellen's got the highest tax rate in this county, and they are still going down to, you know, because of reckless spending. So y'all need to raise your tax rates, and two, you gotta get a handle on what you're doing. And she's trying as hard as she can to do that. Not messing up a heading on email.
Scott, did you say it had to be in a meeting to reinstate the clerk?
Well, the way the charter's worded is.
Or when Gray rescinded his?
Yeah, what the charter says is, one option for the mayor is that if he decides to suspend somebody, then the charter says at the next regularly scheduled meeting, the commission will decide whether to reinstate the person or to terminate the person. That's basically
That's
what the charter says. That's what the charter says.
Okay, what if there's a emergency meeting declared at this work?
It's not a regular scheduled meeting. It's a regular scheduled meetings are when you have your regular meetings set. Everything else is a special call meeting.
Didn't you just tell me though, I could rescind it?
Yeah, you could. So the only way to avoid this being on next Tuesday's agenda is for the mayor to say, I rescind the suspension. So there's nothing for y'all to address. The mayor could do that.
I thought that's what I just did.
I would probably rescind it if you put something in writing, probably do a rescission in writing.
Okay.
So then if it has been rescinded, and if Yvonne will, she could, if she wanted to, return to work tomorrow then, correct?
Yes.
What if she decides
she
to
will.
take the 2 weeks off?
Do what?
So what if she thinks she needs to take the 2 weeks that we've given her off?
If she wants to take that off, that's fine.
I'm just asking,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
asking. So,
So if you're saying that she doesn't accept the withdrawal of the suspension,
Mhm.
then per the charter, it'd be on the agenda for next commission meeting. I'll have to think about it. I mean, I don't know that it needs to be on there. I think the mayor has the ability to withdraw it
Yeah.
anyway, so
I don't think it needs to be on the meeting.
I don't think it needs to be on there.
If the mayor has withdrawn.
He's withdrawn it, and so whether or not, so if he withdraws it, which I think he has, then the ball
It's
is
her,
in Yvonne's court.
it'll be Yvonne's prerogative. She
Yeah,
wants to
she
come
wants
back
to
to
come back to
work
work.
tomorrow, the
She
next
does.
day, she can.
If she doesn't want to come back to work because of it, that's her call.
But Michael, I want to assure you, that wasn't my intent to create more stress on her. I wanted her to take this time to just chill and forget about everything that's going on in the town.
I'm just saying, that wasn't the way it was understood.
Well,
I wasn't here, I didn't witness it. That's not something, I mean, you and her job. That's not, I mean,
well, let me just say that.
I mean, I'm a certified public manager
I know you are.
in the state of Florida, and I can take it, that's not the way to do things. And like I said, I'm not, I wouldn't even want to be on in any of y'all's seats or anything like that, but there's standard conduct that must be there.
I think one of the issues that we face as a council is the fact that we have no evaluations of our employees,
You should.
but we don't. That's my point.
And it's in here.
But we've never done any evaluations.
But we
I'm gonna
talked
tell you,
about
but
that
we
in our workshop to start doing that.
We have.
So we have, I mean, we're trying to get there. Like I said, nothing's gonna happen overnight.
According to that.
You gotta let it-
It's supposed to be quarterly.
according
no-
to the handbook.
And that's never been done.
No.
And I think that's when a lot of this stuff happens. If you have a normal evaluation process, if you're having an issue with somebody, you can talk to them about that or point it out to them. And we don't have any evaluation thing. And listen, I don't like being in the position I'm in either when it comes to something like this. I don't like it at all. My stomach has been in knots ever since this has even came about. But unfortunately, that's the way the charter's written. I mean, I gotta, I'm the one that has to make a decision on what to do. But the orders is rescinded, so it's all, if Yvonne wants to come back to work in the morning, then that would be wonderful.
Well, you're gonna have to reach out to her, I'm not taking that,
We will.
whatever the proper channel.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
We do.
Or is there anything else?
That's it.
It makes you good.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Meeting adjourned.